Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today the big brown truck dropped off a brand new bow from our friends in Michigan at Prime Archery. So I figured I would share kind of my unboxing slash preview video with you guys today, and I'm just going to open it up right now. So I don't think anybody wraps their bows better for these test bows than Prime does. Although I will say that the fine folks at UPS were either trying to get a peek inside of the bow with this giant hole in there, or they just maybe dropped it, I don't know. But the bow seems fine and safe. So I'm just going to pull it out of the package here, and then we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, what we have here is the brand new Prime Inline 3. And let's go over the specs real quick, and then we'll dig into what's new. So specs on this bow is a 33-inch axle-to-axle length, a 6.5-inch brace height, and an IBO rated speed of 337 feet per second. And draw lengths on this one go up to 30.5 inches. So I'll be setting this up at 30 inches, so I'm pretty close to the max of this particular cam system. If you're liking maybe a slightly shorter draw length ratio, you can go down to the Inline 1, or you go up to the Inline 5 if you need a little bit longer draw length and more brace height. But specs-wise, this does sound very familiar to like the Black 3 I shot a couple years ago, or the Nexus 2 I shot last year. But the big difference is all in the cam system. Primes, as long as I've been shooting them and testing them, have always had that kind of parallel cam system, so double cams on top and bottom, which basically, you know, is designed to pretty much eliminate kind of cam lean and try to help make the bow easier to tune and all that. But there are some restrictions with it, not restrictions, but there are some issues with a system like that. It's complicated. The string system is complicated to replace those and expensive. And you know, there's more moving parts, it's heavier and all that. And so Prime has now come up with this inline cam system, which looks very similar to like, you know, any kind of like through-track binary cam. The big difference for Prime is that they didn't want to lose that ability to kind of have cam lean more or less eliminated. And they've achieved that with this inline system. And I'm not an engineer, so it's going to be hard for me to explain exactly what's happening. But the cable here, as you draw the bow back, it kind of it ends up kind of over the center of the axle on the bow. That's the theory. I've got a little graphic that I saw on Prime's website. I'll try to show that into the video here now, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But as you draw it, it's supposed to kind of the top of that cable is going to go over the middle of the axle, and in theory that should make the bow kind of stay, the cam stay relatively straight up and down. Whereas in a traditional kind of like a binary cam or most other bows, you'll draw when you draw it, the string kind of loses most of the tension. Right now, the string's at the most tension is going to have like kind of statically, and in that first quarter of the draw, and then it drastically loses it once you come to full draw. You're only, as you know, let off. You're only holding with a bow like this, you know, 20% of the draw weight, and all that weight goes into the cables, which normally aren't centered on the bow. So Prime has tried to alleviate that with this inline system. So, all that said, I don't know if it's going to work or not. I'm sure it's going to work fine. Just about every Prime bow I've ever tested was very easy to tune and shot very well. I have a long time joy of shooting these Prime bows every year, and they've always been kind enough to join on board our ArcheryTalk kind of hunting bow shootouts every year. Other features on this bow, the Prime grip that we saw last year with this aerogel technology in there. I think it's called the Nano Grip. So basically that aerogel kind of gives you a heat and or cold barrier. It's designed to kind of take away the cool or the heat of the riser. So in those cool fall mornings, that grip will not be, keep your hand fairly warm, kind of like carbon almost. And in one of those kind of warm summer days, if you're shooting and your hand's all sweaty, hopefully this will keep it a little less warm than the rest of the riser would be, and it offers a little bit of grip as well. Beyond that, we've got shock pods on the corners here. We've got a adjustable draw length in the cam, so this looks like a rotating mod system. I've not touched this yet, so I'm not 100% sure what everything's going to look like. But I think that's the plan for me to do in a little while. So for now, I think I'm going to go set this bow up, and we'll see what happens later on. Thank you so much for watching Archery Talk. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot, and stay tuned for a full review and a shootout in the coming months.